Among the hundreds of prominent figures in Greek mythology, there is one woman who is revered as a powerful sorceress, but also cursed as a heartless and cruel woman. That is Medea, granddaughter of the sun god Helios, daughter of the king of Colchis, and the woman who changed the fate of an entire dynasty with love and betrayal. Her name is Medea. She was born in Colchis, a mystical kingdom on the eastern edge of the ancient Greek world, surrounded by sacred forests, holy rivers, and mysterious prophecies. There, the gods were not just symbols, they were bloodlines. Her mother was a priestess. Her father was King Athens, keeper of the Golden Fleece, and her grandfather was Helios, the great sun god. With that blood, Medea was no ordinary woman. She was the living embodiment of ancient magic. Medea was raised in the temple of Hecate, the goddess of magic and darkness. From a young age, she knew how to use herbs, cast curses, summon fire, and heal with blood. No one knew the limits of her powers. By divine light, Medea became the chief priestess, the keeper of the Golden Fleece, the most powerful treasure of Colchis. It seemed that she would live forever in glory and peace in her homeland, until a strange ship from the west arrived. A ship named Argo, with a young leader named Jason. That's when Medea's fate began to take a completely different turn. Love, betrayal, magic, and blood. In the next part, we will discover how Medea, that powerful woman, was manipulated by the gods, fell into a fateful love, and gradually destroyed everything she had ever held dear. One gloomy morning before the sun had fully risen, the Argo, with its white sails and gleaming wooden beams, arrived at Colchis. Leading the expedition was Jason, the hero from Iolcus, who was ordered to find the Golden Fleece. But Jason did not know that that journey would not only change his destiny, but also awaken one of the most dangerous loves in Greek mythology. Jason, protected by the gods, did not come to Colchis alone. Behind him were illustrious heroes, Orpheus, Heracles, Castor, and Pollux. But it was the intervention of the goddesses who laid out a larger plan. Hera, queen of the gods, together with Athena and Aphrodite, secretly orchestrated everything. They whispered to the wind, to the fire, and to Medea's heart. Aphrodite, the goddess of love, commanded her son Eros to shoot his golden arrow into Medea's heart. And so, in the cold wind of Colchis, Medea felt her heart beat faster when she first saw Jason. She didn't understand why, but those eyes, that smile, that voice, it was like destiny calling her name. And even though she knew clearly Jason was a forerunner, the one who came to steal the Golden Fleece, Medea still chose love. That night, Medea secretly came to Jason. She said she would help him complete the terrible trials that her father, King Aeetes, had set for him, but only on one condition. Jason had to promise to marry her. Jason was also enchanted by Medea's strange beauty. He nodded. The first test: tame 2 fire-breathing bulls. Medea concocts a potion made from dragon blood, ancient tree resin, and a whispered spell. Jason rubs the potion on his skin and the fire cannot reach him. The second test: sow dragon tooth seeds in the ground from which immortal warriors grow. Medea gives Jason a trick: throw rocks between them to confuse them and kill each other. And finally, the dragon guarding the Golden Fleece. Medea lulls him to sleep with an ancient spell, causing his eyes to go from glowing red to closing in a deep sleep. The Golden Fleece, a symbol of kingship, power, and destiny, is in Jason's hands, but the price is a broken heart. Because Medea betrayed her father, killed her brother to stop the pursuing ship, left her homeland forever, just to follow a promise of love. But will Jason keep his promise? Will this love save Medea or destroy her?
Jason had the Golden Fleece in his hands. Medea had given up everything: her family, her homeland, and the blood of her own flesh and blood. But the story was not over. King Aeetes, her father, was furious when he discovered that the national treasure had disappeared along with his traitorous daughter. The Argo expedition attempted to leave Colchis, but King Aeetes' mighty fleet was in hot pursuit. Every wave that crashed against the ship's hull was like a death drum. At this point, Medea, now a full-fledged witch, came up with a terrible plan: to sacrifice her own brother. She killed her young brother, then chopped his body into pieces and threw it into the sea. The Colchis army was forced to stop and collect the body parts for King Aeetes to bury. Meanwhile, Argo quietly drifted away, and Medea, from now on, became a person with no way back. Medea's crimes angered the seas. The waves rose, and the Argo was swept to the island of Aiaia, where Medea's aunt and great sorceress, Circe, ruled. Circe, knowing all things, performed a purification ritual to cleanse Medea and Jason, but the blood on her hands would never be truly clean. Jason and Medea were married on the island of Drepane, protected by King Alcinous and Queen Arte. The marriage was hasty, not for happiness, but to legitimize their bloody love, because if they were not husband and wife, the people would hand Medea over to King Aeetes, and so marriage became the last resort. Jason was hailed as a hero, the one who brought the Golden Fleece back to Greece, but few people know that without Medea, that journey would have ended with his own flesh and blood. And she, Medea, began a life of exile, hunted, without a homeland, without a home, with only a man with a vague oath and eyes that never really belonged to her. Destined love, magic, betrayal, a brother's blood, a wedding in the dark, and it's all just the beginning. Time passed. Medea and Jason settled in Corinth. Here they lived for more than 10 years, having many children together. Medea, from an exiled witch, became a good mother, a good wife. Life seemed to be peaceful. But the human heart, especially the heart of a Greek hero, has never known what is enough. In the eyes of the Corinthians, Medea was a barbarian, a foreigner from a magical land. Jason was a hero, the one who brought back the Golden Fleece. And to advance, Jason betrayed his wife, who had killed his father and sister for him. Jason is about to marry Glauce, daughter of the king of Corinth, a marriage that brings power, fame, and the price of Medea's crushed heart. Jason said, "Medea, you should thank me, because now our child will grow up in the palace." But he forgot one thing: witches do not forgive. Medea pretended to bless Glauce. She sent her bride a wedding gift, a beautiful cloak and crown, but poisoned. When Glauce put on the cloak, the poison from the dragon's blood seeped through her skin, burning her body instantly. King Creon, in despair, embraced his daughter and burned to death with her. In just one night, the entire Corinthian royal family collapsed. But Medea's anger was not over. Jason had stolen her life. Now she would take what was most precious to him. In the darkest version of the legend, Medea killed her own children to keep them from being taken by Jason. In another version, the Corinthians were furious, killing their children in revenge. Either way, the tragedy is the same. Jason lost everything. Medea, who betrayed her country for love, now betrays love for her own cause. She flies away on a chariot pulled by a dragon, leaving behind a broken, empty Jason. No more fame, no more children, no more family to call home, and most importantly, no more Medea.
Medea, she is not a hero, but she is not simply a demon either. She is the embodiment of betrayed love, of savage justice, and of a woman who refuses to be discarded. Kill her rival, burn the king alive, take away her own son. Now Medea has no place to live in Greece, but she has no intention of stopping. On the run, Medea finds herself in Athens, the capital of civilization and law. There, King Aegeus is in despair because he has no heir. She promised him a son if he would give her asylum and power. And so it was. They married, and a boy was born, Medusa. But Athens had more than one heir. Theseus, son of Aegeus, returned after years of hiding. Medea realized that if he had lived, her son Medusa would never have become king. She tried to kill him, as she had killed her brother, her rival, her son. Once again, the witch waved her hand and rewrote fate in blood. At that fateful moment, Aegeus realized the truth. The young man was his own son. He threw away his wineglass, his eyes turning angry, looking at Medea. Medea was on the run again. There was nowhere left to go. No one to manipulate, no Jason to love or hate. But she did not die. Her homeland, seemingly lost, was the last place she returned to. And with magic, Medea helped her father regain his throne. Ironically, it was the only time she used her power not to destroy, but to restore order. Medea did not die. Some legends say she flew to the east and founded a distant kingdom. Some say she transformed into the goddess of magic and curses. If you find this story thought-provoking or simply want to support the channel in continuing to explore other hidden corners of Greek mythology, please click the like button to let the YouTube algorithm know you like this content. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next episodes full of twists and fantasy. And share the video with friends who love culture, history, and myth. That's the best way to help the channel grow. Thank you for listening to my story, a storyteller in the mythical world. See you on the next journey.